I don't think this is down necessarily to Keir Starmer's fantastically charismatic personality or any great policies. I agree with that. However, would Jeremy Corbyn have ever come close to anything like this, whatever the Tories have done?
He had 2 goes at it.
No chance. So I think in terms of how he has made the party more electable, moving them more to the centre, taking positions on things like Israel, very contentious for much of his party, quite courageous decisions as a leader of the Labour Party, actually.
When Piers Morgan conducted a tense interview with a Labour MP, the situation quickly spiralled out of control for the politician. The discussion was supposed to centre around Labour's vision for the future, but instead, it transformed into a captivating spectacle filled with contradictions and uncertainties. Morgan, known for his incisive and relentless interviewing style, didn't waste time on gentle questions regarding the party's claims about the economy, housing, and job creation. As soon as the MP attempted to dodge a tough question, Morgan presented undeniable facts and figures, throwing the politician off balance. The more he probed, the more it became evident that the Labour Party was failing to uphold its promises. The MP, struggling to respond to critical questions, found himself in a desperate predicament, as if he were trapped. At one point, he was left utterly speechless, unable to provide a single substantial answer, and the audience could sense his confidence evaporating right before their eyes.
The way to do honest politics is to stand by your manifesto commitments. That would mean, as a minority administration, trying to put through, clause by clause, act of parliament by act of parliament, the manifesto commitments that we've made. And then to challenge those other parties who say that they want also to be part of progressive politics, to support each of those bills, each of those acts of parliament in turn. That's the way you get honest politics. You don't get it doing backroom deals. We saw what happened when we had a coalition. The Liberal Democrats and the Tories, neither of them kept their promises, and they both blamed each other for it. That's not honest.
You're exuding a very...
The issue extends beyond just Reeves and Starmer. Labour's entire economic strategy appears to be built on unfounded optimistic assumptions rather than clear and well-considered plans. The party, which aims to position itself as a trustworthy alternative to the current government, is struggling to earn the trust of voters when it can't even accurately assess its financial performance. As the interview with Morgan highlighted, this isn't merely a political matter, it's about the party's capacity to fulfill its promises. If the Labour Party can't accurately calculate its resources, how can it be entrusted with the future of the country? This raises significant doubts about their management skills, especially in light of the growing pressure and criticism they face. Rachel Reeves sparked a significant backlash when she attempted to downplay the importance of the Wasby Foundation. This campaign, advocating for the rights of women affected by the increase in the retirement age, has garnered attention and support over the years. However, during the interview, Reeves seemed to suggest that their concerns were less significant than other issues the Labour Party was prioritizing. This triggered an immediate and intense negative reaction, further undermining the party's credibility and leaving many bewildered. How can such critical issues be overlooked?
And Richard, the problem he's going to have is that they're going to bring up people like Rosie Duffield and other Labour politicians who've been really shamed and vilified for defending basic biology.
Completely. And what it shows is that actually he's completely out of touch with his core, very socially conservative northern heartlands that he has to win over big time if he is going to get a majority. And he's nowhere near it. And for that constituency, they know exactly what a woman is. And they also do not want their children to be taught things around gender questioning in primary and the early years of secondary school.
Even Tom Hanks today came out and said that he refuses to read any books which have been dragged into the modern morality. In other words, all this issue around Roald Dahl and everything, he won't read them. If they have a disclaimer saying we've changed words and stuff, he said, I'm not going to read it. I loved that because he's in Hollywood, which is normally the wokest place out there. And
What's even more concerning is the timing. Right after that, Piers Morgan abruptly shifted the conversation to another controversial Labour figure, Angela Rayner, who passionately advocated for the construction of 1.5 million new homes. Rayner's ambitious housing plan quickly became a hot topic of debate when she was pressed with questions about who would actually occupy these homes. When asked if migrants would be living in many of these new houses, Rayner dodged the question, which only heightened interest and led to confusion. It became increasingly clear that the Labour Party's approach to housing was more about making grand promises than genuinely tackling the complex and urgent issues surrounding the implementation of these plans. This left many with the impression that there was nothing substantial behind the flowery rhetoric, leading to growing doubts about the sincerity of their intentions.
Very sort of angry and sort of enraged air this morning. We were expecting the Labour representative to come on feeling slightly jubilant that their guy Corbyn had massively exceeded all expectations. You look like it's like the end of your life.
Look, politics isn't a game. It's not about, oh, we did better than expected. They've almost lost it. We almost caught up with it. It's not about that. But it still doesn't change my sense of loss, my sense of anger that I cannot do what my manifesto was proposing to do, and that's to make lives better for children, for young people, for ordinary people in this country, for pensioners in this country. We're not able to do that, and that is a source of real anger and grief to me, because I think politics matters.
Morgan's relentless ability to apply pressure on his guests raised increasing alarm. How can the Labour Party be trusted with the future of the country if they can't even handle a straightforward interview? This confrontation has not only embarrassed one member of Parliament, it has revealed a significant issue that continues to afflict the Labour Party. It is especially troubling that prominent figures like Starmer are also facing intense criticism for similar shortcomings. Starmer has found himself in the spotlight multiple times, often caught off guard during interviews regarding the party's size. If the Labour Party genuinely wants to persuade the public of its capability to manage the nation's finances, it must have a solid grasp of its own figures. Yet this is precisely where they appear to be struggling, raising serious concerns about the future of the entire country.
Well, given that your man then has lost and you feel so agitated about it, should Jeremy Corbyn now resign?
Piers, it's just the trivial way with which you sometimes treat politics as if it's a joke. I'm sorry, I don't share it. And maybe I'm just a po-faced, you know, but I don't share that sense that it's not important. You know, I was going around.
What are you talking about?
On...
What do you mean? I didn't say it wasn't important. I asked you, given the incredibly downbeat demeanour that you've been exuding for the last 6-7 minutes, on a morning we expected Labour to be pretty jubilant, I'm simply asking you a straightforward question. You are very upset that you've lost. Should you, in that situation, be calling for a change of leadership of the Labour Party to find someone who can win? Yes or no? I'm not trivialising it. I'm not making it a game. Don't put words into my mouth and don't patronise me.
In recent interviews, Reeves struggled to communicate the Labour Party's economic plan to the audience, and it was painfully obvious. One moment she confidently presented estimated costs, and the next, she faltered when pressed to explain the details. It wasn't just the absence of concrete figures, it became a real disaster as contradictions began to emerge one after another. One day, the Labour Party solemnly vows not to raise taxes, and the next, they announce the introduction of new taxes. The public isn't naive and quickly picks up on this glaring inconsistency. During an interview, Reeves was asked about Labour's plans for public services and infrastructure. Instead of delivering clear and reliable information, she dodged the question, offering vague responses that completely contradicted previous statements from the Labour Party. As the pressure mounted, she once again failed to support the party's promises with convincing data at this critical moment.
Even with evidence mounting against Keir, some were so angry with Boris over Watergate, Wallpapergate, Partygate, Animalgate, to even question the integrity of Sir Keir Starmer. And those of us who did were seen as far right. Well, here he is, folks, our great leader. It's fascinating listening to people trying to excuse his behaviour and that of his close Labour allies. You can almost see the mental gymnastics that they use to try and excuse him. So whilst things have got worse for us, they certainly got better for Keir and his greedy clan. Absolutely disgraceful and utter hypocrite.
The contrast was both startling and shocking. On one hand, the Labour Party callously overlooked real, long-standing issues, such as the Wasby campaign, which impacts the lives of thousands of women. On the other hand, they enthusiastically championed a housing project that seemed more like a fantasy than a viable solution. The more the Labour Party dodged questions, the more doubts emerged about their ability to address the country's pressing problems. Angela Rayner's commitment to build 1.5 million new homes has become a cornerstone of their policy. While it sounds impressive on paper, the reality is far more complex and confusing. When Rayner first introduced this idea, it was hailed as a bold response to the housing crisis. But with each subsequent discussion, more questions arose about its feasibility. The first major hurdle is the numbers. Constructing 1.5 million homes is an enormous undertaking that demands significant effort and resources. Even with the best intentions, the logistics of such a project can be daunting. The Labour Party has vowed to tackle the housing shortage, yet the timelines and funding for this plan remain shrouded in uncertainty. What will happen when the money runs out or construction comes to a halt? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.